the snares of just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. We are only able to give completely when we ourselves feel complete. We back with another reflection on the daily Vedantic, and today's reflection is on the Sanskrit term Paripurna, which means all full. It can also mean fully complete, completely full. But the translation that is used most in the lectures from the ashram is all full. To be all full. This is a way to describe Brahman or God, supreme. That state of nirvana, enlightenment, liberation, moksha, all of these are pointing to that state. All full. I've heard Paripurna for nearly a decade. And for a few years, it didn't captivate me like other terms. But after a few years, it started to become one of my favorite ways of contemplating, reflecting on not just the state of Brahman, but what we're told within Vedanta is that is our natural state. Not just oneness with the divine, a non-dual view of the world, or in any great tradition, that is the mystic tradition within Christianity or Kabbalah within Judaism, Sufism within Islam, and the non-dual traditions within Buddhism, or the philosophy underpinning Hinduism within the Vedas and Vedanta. Pointing to this union that's often how many of us talk about the divine. And our natural state is in union with the divine, is the divine. If God is infinite, then there can't be anything that isn't God, by definition. The infinite of infinites cannot have a border where it's like, all right, this is where God stops and this is where Dave begins. This is where God stops and this is where the table begins. By definition, it pervades all and is in all. As St. Paul said in Corinthians, Christ is all and is in all. That union, that oneness, that non-dual approach oftentimes that's a typical way of contemplating, reflecting on our natural state. But this, and also bliss. Bliss is another one. Infinite bliss, or Satchitananda, which is truth consciousness bliss. These are all pointers. And in one of the last episode, I talked about how none of this actually gets at it. A God defined is a God confined. You can't pin it down with a sentence. Even the idea of pinning it down with words, sounds coming out of our mouths, that's so ridiculous. But another pointer that I've loved thinking about the last few years, more and more, is all full. A state of being all full, where you can't add anything in. We recently did an episode on white holes. So in Einstein's math, he predicted that we would discover black holes, which we did. His math also predicts that we will discover white holes, which we haven't yet, where instead of a black hole sucking everything in its vicinity, white hole is the opposite. It's just giving everything out. It is blasting everything out. And if anything gets close to it, it has Instead of a black hole, gravitational pull sucking it in. You might be able to see a bracelet that my daughter gave me. It says smile. Instead of a force sucking everything in, it's a force repelling anything that tries to get too close to it, where you cannot get into it. You cannot sink into it. You cannot get too close to it. That is a cool visual for all full, where it is so full, it is just giving in every direction, infinitely. That is such a beautiful visual for Paripurna, for all full, at least for me, because to be all full, to be truly complete, perfectly full, it's not just like a iron ball that's full of iron, but to be like infinitely all full is you are just spilling everywhere you go, giving, 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 and most importantly, unable to take. It's like, you have a 5-course meal, a 7-course meal, and you are all full. You cannot have another bite. It would be pure torture if someone made you have one more bite. Trays of food go by you and you have no interest in any of it. You're repelled by even the thought of taking anything. Outside of the profound, the absolute all fullness, this practical application of all fullness, of being all full, is like the person that has tapped into knowledge of, I am so full, I can't have another bite, and is seeing food, everyone just having no attachment to it whatsoever, gleefully giving it away to anyone that wants it because there is absolutely no appetite to consume it themselves. They're all full. Like the white hole, just giving it away in every direction because they are so full. To be all full. So much of our days, so much of our lives, years, our decades are spent with what Ramatirtha called the snares of 99. You're at 99%, but you just want a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. I'm almost there. J.D. Rockefeller, as I've noted on the podcast before, when he was the first billionaire on the planet, richest guy in the U.S., and he was asked, the richest guy in the world, he was asked, how much money is enough? And half jokingly, half seriously said, just a little bit more. That is an endless black hole of desire. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. The black hole isn't asking for the universe, it's just asking for what's in its vicinity, a little bit more, but doing so unendingly. That is all of us. It sounds so gross and disgusting to hear someone like J.D. Rockefeller doing it, but that's all of us. Every one of us has near infinitely more than so many others. Maybe right in your vicinity, right in your neighborhood. And yet, we're in the snares of just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And what is the opposite of that? Is to feel all full, where you just can't help but to want to give away a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. I can give away more. I can give away more. I can do that thing that they request of me. I could do that. You do it with wisdom. The right tool and used in the wrong way becomes the wrong tool. as the Buddhists say. So you've got to do it in the right way where you're not exhausting yourself and you end up in the hospital because you've been doing it, 5 days in a row with no sleep. Wisdom is the capacity to see the end in the beginning. So you obviously want to give sustainably. But we are only able to give completely when we ourselves feel complete. When we ourselves recognize we are complete. When we tap back into our natural state of being all full. Paripurna. What a beautiful concept. That's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We will see you next time.